Hey, if you don't happen to know who I am, my name is Reese Liker and I am the owner and founder of Define. And today is some bonus content that I don't think I've ever actually taught before. However, this is something I will do on my clients in the salon because if you have something, where it's kind of like an off the shoulder top or your collarbones are sticking out, you could even be sunbathing and you just want to have that extra dewy glow. This is where taking your collarbone and contouring and highlighting it is going to take your look to the next level. I especially do this for my clients when they have formal events like galas, etc., weddings, so that it just really pops and accentuates their collarbones, makes them look a little bit more slim. So what you're going to need on hand for this is your essentials palette. You are going to need your chisel brush. You're going to need your contour blush brush. You're going to want your highlighter. I have mine in shade Trinket today. And then bonus points, if you have a body butter from us at Define. This, I'm going to show you the difference between when you just do highlighter and then when you add a body butter to it. When you add a body butter to it, it just really takes it up a notch and you guys will see that. But let's go ahead and get started with contouring our collarbone. So we are going to take our chisel brush, load up that light brown, and then the caramel. And remember, contour is meant to be a shadow. So when you look at your collarbone, there are two areas that kind of shadow. We have the top and we have the bottom that shadow. So I am essentially going to reflect that shadow so I can kind of feel for that indentation, like where my collarbone sticks out. And I'm gonna go on the top here. This area that's raised is where my highlighter is gonna go. And then this indentation right here is also where I'm going to be placing contour. So I'm taking my chisel brush and I'm essentially just pat pressing back and forth on my collarbone to really chisel that area out. I'm gonna grab some more and I'm going to do the top right here. So you guys can see that now. That really just makes that stick out. I'm gonna do a little bit more right through there. I'm like watching the camera to make sure this looks good. But you can see the difference that just made, how much more this collarbone pops versus this one. But I'm gonna go ahead and do this side as well, just so you guys can see. So I'm kind of going back and forth to create that contour. I'm kind of moving my shoulders so my collarbone sticks out a bit more, so it's easier for me to find where I need to contour. Same thing on the top here. I'm going to place my contour on the top of my collarbone. So now you can see just how much more chiseled that area is because we're just following the natural shadow that is already happening on our collarbone. Let's go ahead and blend that now. So we have our contour blush brush and we're just doing little half circle motions really gently to blend out that line so it does not look very harsh. So I've got the bottom one blended. I'm going to blend the top one, making sure that's good to go. This is a great look to do in the spring and summer because a lot of times, you're wearing dresses or you're wearing lower cut shirts. And so really just popping your collarbones is gonna add that extra element of pizzazz to your look. All right, let's make sure these lines are blended out. I kind of have to check myself in the camera too, so that's what you're seeing me do there. All right, and I'm gonna show you the difference in if I just do highlighter versus if I do highlighter with a body butter on the two collarbones that I have. I think everybody has two collarbones for the most part. Anyways, so I'm gonna take my dual foundation blender brush and just show you what I would do if I did not have a body butter, where I would place the highlighter. So I'm going to grab some of that, just Trinket by itself, and you're actually just gonna place it right on top of your collarbone itself. So you can see it just adds a little bit of reflectivity when I'm kind of moving around, pops it just a little bit. You don't really see it too much, so you can apply a little bit more as needed, but you can see as I'm kind of moving around, it's a little bit more reflective. You can also kind of put it on your finger if that makes it more shimmery in a sense, and kind of apply it to your collarbone. So you can see like it's a little reflective, but it's not super reflective. So if you want something that's more reflective, by the way, if I were doing photos, I would probably go for this side because I don't want it to be too shiny to where it's like really showing up in photos. So if you had family photos or something and you decided to contour your collarbone, this is the side I would go for. However, everyday wear or just me being out and about, not necessarily being photographed, I'm gonna go for something with the body butter because I want it to be a little bit more potent. So I have my body butter here from Define. Pink sugar is my favorite scent right now. So I'm gonna grab a little bit of body butter. I'm gonna put that in my hand. Actually, let's go ahead and put that on my finger. Okay, and then now I'm going to take a little bit of Trinket. So I have that on my other finger. And now I'm going to mix them because this body butter is going to kind of melt in your hands. You can see it kind of turns into an oil. And essentially now what you have is an illuminated oil. And that is what Trinket is turning into. So this oil is going to make it a little bit more reflective. And I might have a little too much body butter on my hand. So let me grab a little bit more Trinket to make it more potent. All right. So you can see just how shimmery, how reflective, how glowy that looks. And this is also really just gonna add to how shiny it is. Do you guys see that? Okay, you can totally see the difference in my collarbones. This one, way more shiny, has a lot more reflectivity versus this one, which yeah, you can like kind of see it, but this really makes my collarbone stand out and you can see just how much more structured that now looks. And then you can just kind of take your finger and dabble it on over to make it not as shiny if you're like, well, that's a little bit much. But that's the difference between when you use a body butter with it versus when it's just highlighter on its own. But that is how to really define your collarbones. You can see it just added a little bit more color, added a little bit more pizzazz to my look. But thank you for joining me. I need to go clean up my hands now because they're all sticky and shimmery. But anyways, thank you for joining me and I will see you all in the next tutorial.